It is a real honor to be with you tonight. I feel as if I'm in the heart of the meditation hall, Circle of the Way, sitting among the standing dead of the great trees that are holding up the hall, and very much present with each of you right there in northern New Mexico, although I greet you from a good 1,000 miles to the west, in the dry mind of the West this evening, as a truly grateful, how can I say, a truly grateful visitor, a guest, sojourner here in sovereign Coast Miwok territory, land of the Coast Miwok and Southern Pomo, coming together in the great Bay Area of San Francisco, in the, as I love to say, the long shadow of Mount Tamalpais. And here's a glass of fresh water from the mountain, harvested just recently. And of course, good soil. See that good rich soil right from the garden outside the door. So I come with my most important elements. A little bit of dirt from under the fingernails, although there are more microorganisms in this handful, and it is a handful of soil, than there are human beings on planet Earth. So all beings in the 10 directions are present with us tonight. Water, air, fire, earth combine to make our bodies and minds. So this is, for me, the most intimate gathering as we come together, bringing together mindfulness practice, hardcore old Zen, and activism. So sitting deep and strong in the saddle, being willing to face the great mystery again and again, and also getting up to serve. This is the heart of socially engaged Buddhist teaching. I love Thich Nhat Hanh reminding us we must be aware every moment of the real problems of the world. With careful reflection, we do both. We go out and help people, and we maintain mindfulness. Mindfulness, this kind of mindfulness, heart and mind together in the present moment, must be engaged. Once they're seeing, there must be acting. Otherwise, what's the purpose of seeing? So this year is dedicated to looking at that deep connectedness between solid old Zen sitting still at the heart of the matter and then getting up to serve. So I want to begin this evening by acknowledging the times we're living in. A few days past Memorial Day, this long weekend, remembering the dead, and so important to say and to acknowledge the many, many, many who've experienced grievous loss and massive change during this pandemic time. To date, 3,575,686 beings have passed across the Great Divide to join the great majority dying from COVID-19. This is as of this morning. And also not turning away, sitting still, not turning away from the truth of the Tulsa massacre. President Biden traveling yesterday to the heart of Tulsa 100 years ago, yesterday, June 1st. 300 dead, 35 city blocks razed. We only begin to look and let our hearts and minds understand what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma 100 years ago. How do we stay strong and face this? And I say it depends on the double ballast of sitting still and prayer into action. Let's put it that way. So acknowledging on June 1st, the Tulsa massacre and not turning away. And then the great extraordinary sorrow, cultural genocide in Canada, uncovered in Kamloops, British Columbia. 215 children exhumed from the ground hidden underneath their forced reparation residential Indian school in Kamloops, British Columbia. So we are holding the families and the long lineage of Native people very much in our hearts this evening, recognizing and remembering. And I also want to, on a brighter note, I want to acknowledge this is June 2nd, and it is Mayumi Oda's birthday. So I want, you know, just in case you were wondering, this giant cabbage behind me is one of her earliest paintings in the field of Green Gulch. She would go out and do field studies. Mayumi is a lifelong activist, artist, teacher, troublemaker, woman of great fiery truth, dragon woman. So this is her birthday. And in the zendo hangs a beautiful scroll on the south wall. I think we know, I think maybe it's the east wall, pardon me. You'll set me straight on that anyway. In the zendo hangs a magnificent scroll of green tara to remember and remind us to get up and serve, not just sit, get up and serve. Green tara with one leg extended, ready to jump forward. So, what an introduction. And there'll be more to say on Saturday when we have a full day to really look at what does it take right now to plant life and to grow justice without turning away from the truth of the world. And again, I'm going back, you know, I had lots of preparation, but in the end, I just pushed all my notes to the far side of the table and let this ear of blue corn come forward and this seed container from Roxanne Swensel so that I could remember something older and truer to say, especially tonight. And you know, it's an extraordinary thing for a meditation center, a place of practice, to have the front gate leading into the hall. And I do think of the garden as the front gate. Maybe some say the back gate, never for me. It's always the front gate. And so 10 years ago, when we gathered to practice and not turn away from the truth of being alive in these times, when we gathered on this open ground facing the eastern mountains and looking right in the embrace of the meditation hall, the dream was to create a place, a paradise, a place of walled enclosure that would remind us of the importance of not only sitting still, but also getting up, serving, and making sure that all beings in the 10 directions are fed. 800 million people tonight cannot afford the food that they need to eat. 1 in 5 in Berkeley, California, 1 in 5 human beings are going to bed hungry still, even though the pandemic is moving into some resolution. Hunger remains. It's closer to 1 in 4, and most of those beings are children. 25,000 people dying every day of hunger. This is not tenable, not a tenable truth. And especially if you've got paws that are wizened and worked out like mine, you want to get those hands in the ground and plant the seeds of antiquity and ask the soil to show us in a brocade of green and growing life what's possible, and especially in these dry times. So I'm particularly grateful again and again to Upaya Zen Center for giving good land, good raw land to a garden. And at first we weren't sure, is this going to work? It's going to be messy. Every garden is messy. Just like systems theory, every single aspect of systems theory is nonlinear, changing, emergent, dangerous, leaning on everything else. So that's what a garden is. It leans on everything that is, and then it wants to be devoured, eaten, and transformed in each of us. So to have that garden be at the gateway into the meditation hall, I think for many of us was more important than we realized at first. And in the next few days, we've been collecting seed for 10 years. And these are the seeds of antiquity, the seeds of persistent culture, the seeds of an ecology of the heart, an ecology that is committed to every ecosystem, every mixture of food, family, friends, foes, all together coming and sitting at the table and being served and serving one another. So this is an extraordinary time to be growing food. And for 10 years, we have persisted in this tiny plot right at the gateway. It's lovely that there's a windmill right above the garden, pumping water from the depths, and just enough water to irrigate these crops, although less and less water is needed as you get closer to the crops of antiquity. So to have a garden, not a lush garden, but a garden based on the dry mind. Heraclitus saying, the dry mind is the best mind. Dry mind is Zen mind. Dry mind that doesn't depend on any moisture, on any nourishment, on any provision outside of what's actually possible. When you take the leap and find and taste the fittingness of not being able to fit in the world right now, not knowing how we fit, and yet sitting down together, planting crops that rely on the least amount of water, the least amount of fertility in soil, and give forth a glory of emanation. So corn as the eldest of the crops, and this beautiful ear of corn, original corn, this from Española, from the Tewa world. On Saturday, we'll hear knowledge holder Roxanne Swensel, artist and activist and extraordinary gardener, mother, teacher, ancient one, brand new, young Roxanne. This is the corn of this is her body, her relative. So this blue Tewa corn, we received seeds originally 10 years ago, a handful of seed from Española in northern New Mexico, entrusted to a young chaplain training at UPI, Emily Baker. And Emily received the seed, brought it, we cleared them off the cobs. And once we had the garden created, we basically made a very thin fence around this plot of land, got into the middle of that very small and intensely dry, magnificent plot, and began to make circles, old mounds, and to plant in the traditional way, to plant this blue corn on mounded hills, and to entrust the climbing beans of antiquity, also the beautiful beans from Santa Clara Pueblo, to entrust beans, beans fix nitrogen in the soil, taking living nitrogen from the air and fixing it on the roots of the plant. So to nourish the garden, with the ancient one standing in the center of the corn, beans around the circle, and then on the outside, the eldest of the three sisters of antiquity, squash, covering the ground and providing protection. Would they grow? We didn't know. But I'll say that in the 10 years that we've planted in this season, following the ancient traditions of planting, in these 10 years, we've had an extraordinary experience of almost, maybe, I don't know what'll happen on Friday, but almost every time we plant, there is a short, violent, and prolific thunderstorm that closes the day. Prayer into action, the whole day of digging and moving around the grounds and putting good seed in the earth, and then stepping back, offering the merit of our time together, and noticing the darkness coming down, the black old mountain dark coming down, and pausing in the outdoors, in the great outdoors outside of the meditation hall, to enjoy the smell of rain, the danger of thunder, the mind of lightning, and the electrification of our intention. Such a powerful experience. And if I seem at all metaphorical, gardening is not a metaphor for me. It's not a metaphor. Oh, let's talk about the metaphor of planting life. No, please. These are real seeds, and real seeds, each seed is a living entity, alive with the kernel of truth. To discern is to sift out what is unnecessary, to blow away the chaff, to winnow, to clean, to thresh, to beat out the seed so that it falls down through the riddle of time, through the riddle of a sieve, and you have in your hand living seed again and again. So this is not a metaphor. This is the dangerous and intense truth of life. So we set up a garden 10 years ago. Luckily, Roshi John was away, because I think she was a tiny bit trepidatious at first. But when she came back, that garden had grown to a mighty tangle, an unruly, prolific jungle of intense life force. And from that first year, for the first 3 years of the Upaya Windmill Garden, all of the harvest was protected from eating. We desperately wanted to eat some of that gorgeous blue corn, dark as the mind of the medicine Buddha, full of medicine and life force, 9,000 years old. We wanted to eat of it. No. 3 solid years protecting and saving for seed. So let the garden go to seed. Everything is kept for the next generation. This is the first rule of good regenerative gardening. Of course, every single seed is kept, and the seeds become part of the climate of the Zen world. They learn how to sit cross-legged or lying down, or in whatever way they sit still and hold us in their mind. Again and again, I want to read you a wonderful reminder. There were times when I could not afford to sacrifice the bloom of the present moment to any work, whether of the heart, the head, or the hands. I love a broad margin to my life. So on a summer morning, sometimes I sit in a sunny doorway from sunrise until noon, and I grow in these seasons like corn in the night. So as this is Thoreau writing about the importance of sitting still and growing like corn in the night. Corn actually elongates and grows inches, measurable. It creaks and groans as it grows. This is a very alive relative. And standing in the center, 9,000 years, 1/4 of the people of planet Earth are made of corn. Corn eaters, 1/4 of the human beings on Earth are people of the corn, of the great mystery of the corn. And so to have that mystery be at the gateway to the meditation hall always has, I don't want to generalize, has been extraordinarily important for me and moving. A story within a story with no beginning and never ending, a great circle. And then the beans absorbing nitrogen, releasing nitrogen, that network, the underground network, celebrating the mystery of dissolution and dismemberment and coming apart, rotting under the ground, releasing nitrogen into the earth, feeding the living ground, and squash protecting. So these 3 ancestors growing together, it's a beautiful statement. Let's see if I didn't throw away all of my notes, friends, but most of them. Anyway, in the ancient world, they're known as Johego, our life sustenance, corn, bean, squash, a 3-in-1 body, a triple treasure, a community within a community, a persistent agriculture, evolving and speaking about the truth of traditional ecological knowledge in the form of plant and food, a polyculture, a deep ecology of the heart. The Yaqui people of the Sonoran Desert can host 48 indigenous corn nations in 1 year to celebrate the truth of our life sustenance, sacredness, mystery of life, sustaining power of the natural world and living things. So just to be present for ancestral corn and to be alive in the mystery now, 10 years in, we are able in the morning of the planting, and I hope that this can happen this year, to actually sift the blue corn and make a beautiful atole, a drink. And before going out into the garden, to taste the liquid fire and nourishment of corn and to feel the spirit of corn holding us together and encouraging us to plant life and work for justice. So this beautiful, let's take a moment and have a proper tribute from a writer of the Southwest, from M. Scott Monladay, from Housemate of Dawn, in gratitude to Roshi Joan for passing this to me. A few days ago, she had seen the corn dance at Cochiti. And I love that sentence. A few days ago, she had seen the corn dance at Cochiti. She'd seen the corn dance, but she'd also seen the corn dance at Cochiti. It was beautiful, strange. It seemed to her that the corn dancers meant to dance forever in that slow, deliberate way. They looked straight ahead to the exclusion of everything. But she had not thought about that at the time. And they had not smiled. They were grave, so unspeakably grave. Not merely sad or formal or devout, nothing like that. Simply that they were grave, distant, intent upon something she could not see. Their eyes were held upon some vision out of range, something away in the end of distance, some reality she did not know or even suspect. What was it they saw? Probably nothing at all. But then that's the trick, isn't it? To see nothing at all. Nothing at all. To see beyond the landscape. To see nothing at all, nothing in the absolute. Beyond every shape and shadow and color. That is to see nothing. That was to be free and finished, complete, spiritual. To see nothing slowly and by degrees at last. To see first pure, bright colors of near things, then all pollutions of color, all things blended and vague and dim in the distance. To see finally beyond the clouds and the pale wash of the sky, the none and the nothing beyond the none. To say beyond the mountain and to mean beyond the mountain. To mean it simply beyond everything for which the mountain stands, of which it signifies the being. Somewhere, if only she could see it, there was neither nothing nor anything, and there, just there, that was the last reality. In celebration of corn, persistent culture, and ecology of the heart, the old dance, seeing the corn dance and seeing the corn dance. So one of our gifts in these times is to find our place where we are and let practice occur. To find an open, joyful mind. The mind, grandmother's mind. And magnanimous, huge, big mind. Daishin, the mind that from a single leaf of this cabbage behind me, this blue cabbage, from a single leaf, dropped on directly onto the ground, a Buddha grows. And from a Buddha, from a 16-foot Buddha, a single leaf of cabbage, to see that dance and the nothingness of that dance. These are desperate times. They're challenging times. They're times of extraordinary energy and a call to action on every level. But also, these are times when we are called to sit down and let ourselves know, I do not know what I see. I do not understand how corn, bean, squash can become me, and yet I feel that grace and pull at the table, at the old table. And to have the opportunity to experience this at the doorway, at the threshold, at the great gateless gate to a meditation center is a true gift. So you're stopped in your tracks. And Thich Nhat Hanh, I love Thich Nhat Hanh, old teaching from Thich Nhat Hanh, encouraging us, you want to be a an activist in the world? You want to be a deep Zen person? Well, guess what? Buddhism is made of non-Buddhist elements. It's made of really not knowing what you see when you see this extraordinary corn poking up, coming out of the ground, out of dry ground, the mind of dry ground, not knowing exactly what you see and not relying on tasting. Not knowing what you see, you do have some perception that Buddhism has to be made up of non-Buddhist elements, or activism has to be made of non-activist elements. Justice is more and more made up of seeing the extraordinary injustice in our world right now, and then doing something about it. But first of all, I remember this so clearly, 90 children at La Casa de Maria in Santa Barbara with Thich Nhat Hanh. It was 32 years ago. Our daughter's 32. She was a babe in arms, newborn there at that retreat. I remember Thich Nhat Hanh saying, if we want to make meditation work for children, then let's stop everything, first of all. Just stop. Completely stop. And he taught us the kanji character for stop. Completely stop. And then move into calming your heart and mind in the present moment. First, stop. Stop worrying, stop planning, stop seeing, stop naming, stop zenning, stop turning, stop fighting, stop arguing, stop thinking, stop eating, stop planning, stop gardening, stop. Just stop. And then let that great calmness of sitting in the doorway from sunrise to noon grow like corn in the night. Just calm down and feel the extraordinary sorrow in the way Brigitte talked about it last week. The sorrow of your own stupidity, the sorrow of your own loss and missed opportunity, the sorrow of your own sorrow. So calming down, letting that sorrow come in, and then resting in it. Can you actually hold still and rest? The garden calls you to work like the fury, and then also to sit like we do around the Upaya garden, making music, grinding corn, sitting, painting prayer flags, praying for the more than human world, praying that we can become living, functional, deep-seated, and intensely alive human beings, praying for that and resting. At Plum Village, the first time my husband and I were at Plum Village, Thich Nhat Hanh came up to Peter. We're both very good growers, I have to say. It's it ought to be true. We've been at it for 40 years. Anyway, good growers. Thich Nhat Hanh asked Peter, there's a vineyard there. It's the source of much suffering. Would you mind working with the other Western students and taking out that vineyard? Because we don't want to be furthering suffering. So in full summer, first time we met Thich Nhat Hanh in Plum Village at France, Peter worked on that with the far-flung Sangha. And I was eager to help. And you know what he said to me? He said, need to go to the hammock. You need to chill out and rest. You're too much. You basically need to rest. And then see if by stopping, calming, resting, and not turning away from the sorrow that's covered over when you're so busy all the time, even digging with my trusty trowel that's in the back, all of that, it can be a cover for the great sorrow, the great call. So His Holiness says, now that we have entered uncharted territory of global emergency, where barriers as usual cannot continue, let's take the initiative to repair and protect this world, ensuring a safe climate future for all people and all species. That depends on stopping, on calming your heart and mind, and on finding some rest, and then work toward health, toward healing, toward wholeness in times of extraordinary illness and brokenness. Find the wholeness of all that is. And tomorrow night we'll go deeper into this, looking at the paramitas, looking at what it takes, looking what it means to come from gratitude, to be patient, to also be energetic in every way, to find our moral compass again and again, to sit still and to find and nurture a wisdom and compassion together in the present moment. But this grandeur doesn't come without paying the price of slowing down and stopping and orienting. So, when on Friday morning, when we go out to the garden, and you will be with us because you're here tonight. And whatever you're doing on Friday, June 4th, my sister's birthday, my beautiful sister's birthday. Many other people born in birthday, death day. The dead are always with us. Let's take a little time early in the morning to stop, to really slow down, beyond slow down, to calm, breathing in, calm the body, breathing out, smile, release, smile, smile. And to rest together, and then to energetically dedicate ourselves toward healing the world. And the way we'll do it at Upaya Zen Center early in the morning is the ancient dance of standing on raw ground near the meditation hall. The garden's unplanted. The world is not seeded. It's open to all possibilities. The ancient ones are resting in the shade, 9,000 years old or older. Squash is older still. Her job, huge job, to protect the earth, to cover the earth and protect the earth and create these giant, massive fruits. So in that time, we will stand and turn in a slow gyre, turn to face the east, toward Prajna, to face the south, the realm of Samantabhadra Bodhisattva. This, in my training, every tradition has a different, and Buddhist traditions also, but turning to the south, the fire of intensity and shining practice. We'll turn and let the fire of shining practice animate us and warm us until we're ready to circle again and face the west. The realm of Jizo Bodhisattva, protector of children and travelers in and out of the world. And last of all, turning toward the north to raise up the mind of deep, earthy groundedness, and then come together, face each other, and get to work. So that's what's going to be happening at Upaya on Friday morning, and much more will be happening too. And I think what's probably most important is, in whatever way is right for you, to find your place where you are and let practice occur, and let it come out of stopping, calming, resting, healing. A beautiful closing story, a beautiful story from Roshi Joan this winter. A story of A.J. Musk, who was a Dutch-born activist living during the Vietnam War, during the time of the Vietnam War. And he made his way to the White House every day with a candle, and just stood outside of the White House with a burning candle, holding the candle up toward the end of the war. I'm thinking of Thich Nhat Hanh and so many people from Vietnam and that long war, and how many wars we're involved in now. But A.J. Musk standing by himself, holding a single candle. Finally, one of his friends or colleagues said to him, "Do you really think that by standing here, holding a candle, that you are going to change the policies of this bellicose nation? Do you really think that that's going to happen? What are you doing?" And with real assurance, speaking out of a mind that was stopped, a heart that was stopped, a mind that was calm and at rest, he answered, "I don't do this to change the country. I do it so that this country won't change me. I will not be swept up in this monstrous confusion. I'll be strong and present, adamant and soft, a mixture of everything that is, as strong and straight and eight-road as the great blue corn, and as mysterious as trickster bean and rambling squash. I will feed a hungry world. As in the great sutras of the Buddha, reminds us there are three gifts that we need in these times. And this is more than 2,500 years ago teaching. Three things are absolutely essential for practice. Number one, material strength, anisadana, the gift of material sustenance, food, shelter, medicine, friendship, the first gift, material resources. Second gift, Dharma teaching, to uphold and sustain. Dharma, same root as dur, farm, Dharma, farm, to uphold, to sustain, to be strong, to serve. And last of all, and particularly right now, for this, in this being time, the gift of non-fear. So holding up your hand, showing the naked palm, I am not afraid. With this kind of ferocity of the Bodhisattva, Trungpa Rinpoche said, even fear is frightened. With this, in the face of this kind of resolve. So what's it going to take for us to do it? Well, let's begin where we are. Turn around in a circle, lose your bearings, and then reorient. Find your ground. Make an effort to be nourished and to nourish all beings, and to let all beings manifest in you lifetime after lifetime. So thank you very much for this evening, for the opportunity to be in the heart and mind of Upaya Zen Center, the windmill garden, the great prayer wheel turning, the empty mind of soil. The wind is dark, the soil is red. The soil is red, the wind is dark. The corn is dancing and she's watching. And what does she see? Nothing at all. And the nothingness within the nothing. So thank you, everyone. And beautiful evening. Wherever you are, appreciate the food you hold. Earth, air, water, fire, and space combine to make this food. Numberless beings give their life and labor that we may eat. May we be nourished, that we may nourish life. Thank you.